feels like yesterday I was on a college campus, in the library, listening to music, waiting for my next class to start. My friend comes up to me, he taps me on the shoulder, he's all excited. I'm like, what? And he's like, have you heard that new mixtape? And I'm like, what mixtape? He's like, that Drake mixtape, have you heard it? And at this time, I barely kind of know who Drake is. I know I am just a little bit, but not much. And at this point, I'm like a total music snob hipster. This is at the height of the blog era. This is when graduation has impacted hip hop culture, and all these little hipster rappers have branched out of the graduation and Kanye era, and they're rapping about mental health, postmodern dating, politics, and more. So at this time, I'm not taking Drake seriously, right? I'm listening to people that I thought were way better. I'm listening to Lupe. I'm listening to the mixtape About Nothing from Wale. I'm listening to those first couple B.O.B. mixtapes, Charles Hamilton's Pink Lantern mixtape. I'm listening to just these classic records, in my opinion. And so when he says Drake, I'm just kind of like, well, yeah, I'm a little familiar with him. But Wheelchair Jimmy, Degrassi High, I'm not taking it too seriously, but during the course of the day, people keep coming up to me and they're like, yo, you heard that Drake tape? Especially women. They're like, you heard the Drake tape? And I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me just listen to this tape and get it over with. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, as a freshman, if all the sexy women are listening to this mixtape, I need to be listening to this mixtape. We need common ground. So I listened to it and I loved it. And I just listened to it nonstop because I'm just like, okay, here's a guy I can relate to. He's not tough. He's not shooting people. You know what I'm saying? He's just talking about his everyday life. His feelings about the women he's with or the women that's left him. His feelings about his parents separating. And while I would say most of the other rappers in the blog era were way more talented than him, expressed themselves in way more interesting ways and talked about way more interesting things, Drake was interesting because it really was like listening to somebody vent on Twitter. It was endearing. Just hearing somebody vent, it was endearing and it was relatable. You know what I mean? When that first album drops, he catches a lot of flack for being soft, right? Because before that, if you ignore Kanye, it's like what, 50 Cent, T.I., Lil Wayne, you know what I'm saying? So people are calling him soft because we're still kind of in that era to some degree, and it's transitioning over to these YouTube blog era rappers, right? So then on the second album, he's dissing his ops. It's subliminal, but he's dissing his ops. And he's just got more aggression than he had the previous album or the mixtape. Then you move into the next album and there's even more aggression. And he's even more bitter. He's still mad at these girls that left him. He's mad at Chris Brown that he was with Rihanna. He's just got a lot of angst. He's talking about being in the strip club. He's talking about being in the party. He just comes off very bitter. But it's like, hey, he's a young, famous rapper in the game. What do you expect? Now we fast forward more than 10 years later? It's been more than 10 years since that third album that came out in 2013. And, I'll be darned. This man is still rapping about the same thing at almost 40. He's still rapping about his ops. He's still rapping about women that he's mad at. He's still rapping about Rihanna. I mean, this man is still rapping about the same things. Drake is literally almost like a walking, talking time capsule. It's like musically, he really hasn't grown. And the topics that he talks about haven't changed in all this time. Now, this obviously brings us into Drake's new era, the ICEMAN era, right? His latest album since getting his head almost knocked off by Kendrick 2 years ago when Kendrick dropped Not Like Us. And people thought that his career was over. They thought Drake, career-wise, was dead. Musically, he's never coming back. And yet, here he comes again with a #1 album. He dropped 3 albums at the same time. So it's not that impressive because it would be hard to drop 3 albums at the same time and not have a #1 and not sell lots of records. But nevertheless, he's got a #1 record, 3 albums that people are listening to, even though, you know, a lot of it from people's opinion is mid. But again, people are still listening to it. And let's face it, in modern music, mid is just the name of the game. Everything's mid. So that's pretty much all people know at this point. And during this album rollout, you know, Drake is acting like Carrie from that movie where she goes to the prom and the kids play a prank on her and they nominate her as prom queen, and then they pour blood all over her during her acceptance speech. And so Carrie gets her get back and she just goes crazy and just kills everybody. That's how Drake is acting right now on this ICEMAN album. He's dissing everybody, dropping subliminals about everybody. He's dissing Jay-Z, Rick Ross, Lil Kendrick, Dr. Dre, he's Rihanna, A$AP Rocky. He's dissing and disrespecting everybody. This man is hitting falsetto notes, talking about how he doesn't want people to be able to pay their bills. Excuse me for saying this, but he's going full-blown high school shooter on this one, okay? Drake cannot let go. He can't let go of his beast. He can't let go of his youth. You know what I'm saying? Look, I hate to say it. I'm gonna just be honest here. I'm just gonna say something. A 40-year-old with cornrows, it's not a good look. Okay. He's starting to look like that old nigga in the club, you know, that don't know he not supposed to be there no more. Okay. Why is my guy at 40 with cornrows in the club talking about how he's partying and throwing money at women, making diss tracks about his ops? How you 40 and got ops? You ain't supposed to have ops at 40. Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him he's too old for this? Where are his friends? Where are his real friends at? I need to know. Anyway, today I just want to talk about his latest music, right? Not to attack him as a person, right? Because I don't know him as a person, but just to examine a pattern that I see many of us struggling with, that I'm observing in his music as well, right? And again, one of the most successful artists in the world, but he seems drawn to the same themes, right? Old grudges, failed relationships, other people's women, and, you know, just trying to prove himself to people from his past, right? That he don't even deal with anymore. And whether you're a fan or not, it really raises an important question, like, what happens when a person never truly lets go of their old wounds? You know what I'm saying? And you know, the Bible talks a lot about bitterness, forgiveness, spiritual growth, and Drake's music really provides an interesting case study for those themes when you really think about it, right? And the one thing I got listening to Drake is that success really doesn't heal the heart, right? Like, Drake has achieved things that most artists could only dream of, even though, you know, some people might say it's because of streaming farms. You know, at the end of the day, he's still got money, he's still got fame, he's still got influence, he's got some awards, he's got records, yet, you know, his songs still keep returning to the same emotional conflicts, right? And the lesson here is simple, right? Success cannot heal what only God can heal. You know what I mean? Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Listen, just because your bank account changed doesn't mean that your heart changed. You know what I'm saying? That's not the same thing, okay? Just because you gain the world doesn't mean you're not still carrying old wounds. I mean, I'm looking at the way this man is attacking all his ex-girlfriends in his music and just like obsessing over Rihanna, and I'm like, fam, you coming off like Glenn Close and Fatal Attraction for real. Like, I'm scared he's about to like take one of Rihanna's kids' rabbit and cook it in a pot. You know what I'm saying? Just straight up Fatal Attraction style. Like, it's getting to that point, y'all. Okay? I'm scared for her. And it's just too bad because I just see him musically regressing, right? And not progressing. You know what I'm saying? He started off with so much promise, but, you know, he's really going backwards musically. You know, it's like that Bible verse, right? Where it's like, when I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. You know, Drake still calls himself the boy, but it's like, you're not the boy. You're 40, bro. You're 40. You have to let things go musically. I'm just talking about music. I don't know him as a person. I'm just saying musically, it's time to leave some of these things behind, man. Maturity isn't about age. You know what I mean? Public Enemy, they were like 26 when they were making their music, right? Maturity is about growth. not age. It's about growth. You can really be a 50-year-old kid out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad acts like a teenager or a guy in his 20s, and he's like 60. He's like 60, but he can't. He refuses to grow. And I'm gonna be honest, like, hip hop, it's that kind of genre where it's just like, it stagnates you. Hip hop's not about growth. Hip hop is kind of youth culture, and they don't want people to grow. Right? So I understand how artists sometimes they feel like they can't grow because their audience won't even allow them to. Why is Pusha T still talking about pushing drugs? That had to have been like 20 years ago at this point. Surely something else has happened to you in your life other than selling drugs at this point. And with a culture that like celebrates beef, you know, I'm sure that rappers really aren't motivated to forgive and forget. They're not motivated to let go of their bitterness. But what I'm really noticing about Drake's music when I just go over it all, it's that like, yo, bitterness really keeps us trapped in the past. One of the saddest things about bitterness is that it chains us to the people who hurt us. Years can pass, decades can pass, and we're still having the same conversations with ghosts. You know what I mean? Still we're playing arguments, still trying to win battles that ended long ago. Yo, Not Like Us came out 2 years ago. Drake's still talking about it. He won't let it go. But the thing is, he's forever chained to Kendrick now. You know what I mean? This person that you can't stand, you're forever connected to him because you won't let it go. You're forever connected to Rihanna because you won't let it go, right? And that's gonna always plague his mental or his music as long as he refuses to let go of it. He's always gonna be chained to these people that he dislikes or he has angst against until he lets it go. And we're the same way, right? There's always somebody that made you feel some type of way, and you like, I'm gonna forgive everybody because I'm a Christian, but not this nigga right here. But yo, if you do that, then that person stays with you forever. They have like unlimited space in your mental, and it's because you're giving them free vacancy. You know what I'm saying? That's why it says in Hebrews, see to it that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. You know what I'm saying? Bitterness doesn't stay contained. It affects our relationships, our outlook, and eventually like your entire identity. You know what I'm saying? Which is, you know, musically as an artist, I feel like what's happened to Drake, like it's his identity. Getting into beefs is his identity now. You know, being bitter and possessive, angry is kind of like his identity musically. And now, you know, even though in real life he could be just a perfectly sweet person, you know what I'm saying? But musically, that's kind of what we know him for at this point. We know him as Bitter Drake. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing about forgiving people. Forgiveness is for you. You know what I mean? It ain't just for them. A lot of people think forgiveness means like saying, hey, whatever happened, it's okay, I'm fine with it, right? But the Bible doesn't even say that. The Bible's like, yo, forgiveness is kind of like releasing your right to revenge and like trusting God with justice. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about forgiveness is, forgiveness isn't pretending. It's freedom, right? Like, you want to be free of those chains to that person, right? The person who benefits the most from forgiveness is usually the person doing the forgiving. It's not the person on the receiving end. It's for you. How many happy Drake songs do you know? How many Drake songs do you listen to where he's like happy? Think about that. When's the last happy Drake song you ever heard? And look, again, it's not just a Drake thing. He's just an example because he came out with an album recently. But a lot of artists use their old wounds to build an identity around it, you know, just like Taylor Swift does. You know what I'm saying? To a degree, Kanye too, right? Some artists make music about growth. Others make music about staying in the same emotional place, right? And a lot of times it's because they know that's what their fan base wants from them. You know what I'm saying? Anytime Mary J. Blige make a happy song, everybody get angry at her. But she's like, yo, can't I be happy too? You know what I'm saying? You know, the danger for all of us is turning our pain into our identity, right? That's a big mistake, right? Like at some point you have to decide, do I want healing or do I want to keep reliving the same hurt, right? You can't let what somebody else did to you define you in your life, right? Or they have like control over you, like in a way you've given them power over you, which is horrible. which is horrible because then they truly win. You know what I'm saying? Then they truly win. If that whole beef thing with Kendrick had happened and Drake was just like, okay, summer album, party vibes, not worried about it, I think most of his fans would be completely fine with that. Right? Because no matter how much dissing Drake does, he's not going to convince us that he's tough. He's not going to convince us that he's some lyrical genius battle rapper. It's like, we know that's not you. You was better off singing about your crushes and women that you like and just leave it at that. You don't really have to do this because we don't believe you anyway. And here's the thing, when it comes to forgiveness in Philippians, the Bible's like, forget what is behind and strain towards what is ahead. And you know, Paul wasn't saying to erase the past, right? He was just saying don't live there, right? Don't build a home in the past. Keep moving forward. Your future is what's ahead of you, not what's behind you. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I mean, look, just in conclusion, I'm just saying this video is not really about Drake. It's about all of us. Like, most of us don't have platinum albums, right? Most of us aren't celebrities, but a lot of us have old hurts that, you know, we keep revisiting. Old betrayals, old relationships, old disappointments that we just like replaying in our head over and over again. And the question is whether, are you going to let those wounds define you, or are you going to let God's word define you? You know what I'm saying? The Bible teaches that healing begins when we surrender our bitterness to God. I'm gonna say that again because that just sounds good. That's better than any Drizzy bar. Let me say it again. The Bible teaches that healing begins when we surrender our bitterness to God, because forgiveness is not about saying, you know, the hurt didn't happen, right? Forgiveness is refusing to let the hurt control you for the rest of your life. And that's a lesson that we all need. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're seeing Drake go through it because he's famous, right? But we all kind of have these problems, right? We all got a little Drizzy in us, you know? We all got a Nothing Was the Same CD in our heart somewhere. You know what I mean? I don't know Drake personally, and I can't judge his heart. I'm responding to the themes presented in the music. So I just want to make that clear. I'm not responding to him as a person, but the music. And so if you don't know, this week at Jay-Z's annual Roots picnic, he dissed Drake in a freestyle, right? Because of course Drake dissed him on the album. While people are excited about this, all I could think was, this is a 40-year-old rapper beefing with a 50-something-year-old rapper. Like, and I'm just wondering, like, where's the growth? Like, why are these two grown men that I know have gray hairs beefing with each other like this? I don't want to see geriatric beefing. You know what I'm saying? And not that, you know, 50's not old and 40's not old, but it's like, it's too old to behave like this. You know what I'm saying? And Jay-Z, if you know him musically, he was the king of being bitter at one point. Like, like he was just petty. He was King Petty. And it's just like, where's the growth? Like, Jay-Z got $1 billion. Like, you don't need to talk to Drake. What is it about this culture that just keeps people from growing and benefits off of these people not growing, benefits off these people who are too old to act like this, acting like children? Why? Yo, don't let culture define what you do and how you move. Don't let the culture define that. I know hip hop culture says one thing is right, but if you'll notice, everything in hip hop is contrary to the Bible. Everything in hip hop is contrary to God's word. How many of these people have you ever heard make a happy song? A song where they were truly just happy. Have you ever heard a happy rap song? How many happy rap songs do we know? You know what I'm saying? You gotta go back to find happy rap songs. Like, you gotta go way, way, way back. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'll just leave that with this, man. I'm tired of seeing old dudes fighting. Peace.